AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Taylor Sharp. Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Thanks to Jakeem Jackson for hanging out in studio with us there just a bit ago. Shay Dixon was here in hour 1 talking a little Cruton. We will get to Matt Miller's updated mock draft and LSU Southern preview in baseball out at the box as soon as the lineups are posted here in about half an hour or so. We'll get to them. So glad to have you hanging out with us on this Tuesday edition of AFR. So the football Tigers are back on the practice field today. We opened up the show with a practice report of the notable newsworthy items. Stefylan Green, the defensive lineman from Clemson, who had not been present the first 3 workouts, was present on Tuesday. That was good to see. We did see another change with the first-team defense at tackle. Deuce Gerald's remained in there, but in the last 3 practices, Thursday, it was Richard Anderson. Saturday, it was Malik Blockton, the Auburn transfer. Today, it was Don McKinley running with Deuce Gerald's with the first team at defensive tackle. After practice, I did ask Lane Kiffin to confirm what we reported over the weekend over at LouisianaSports.net, which was torn ACL for Gabe Relaford and the impact of Relaford's injury on that room. This is what Lane Kiffin said.
That's a difficult injury, really challenging for him after missing time last year. He was doing a great job. Again, kind of like the way I view that position, like receivers, if you're going to be really good, because play counts are up nowadays, and as you look at the conference, it used to be kind of fast and it slowed down a little bit offensively. If you look at like last year, there weren't really many up-tempo teams, and now you kind of have this swing back. So to me, even more than ever, to have multiple defensive ends that can rush and that can play snaps to play against that tempo, this was a significant loss for us. He has a really good future here, and we were really excited about how he was performing.
I thought the most interesting part of that, and he did obviously sort of validate one of the things that I had been told over the weekend we shared with you on Monday, which was Relaford had an awesome offseason. He's a great team guy. And some of the staff members that I spoke to over the weekend who had been here pointed out, man, like you'd come up on any given day and Relaford's in the weight room working out by himself. You go into the indoor and Relaford's in there doing defensive end drills by himself. He's in there getting his treatment, coming back from the shoulder surgery. So he'd worked so hard really attacking this offseason to come back. So it's so disappointing. And Lane sort of talked there about how important he is and has been, was going to be, the type of season he was going to have, and he has a really bright future. So we hope the best for Gabe, man. A quick recovery, and hopefully he can get back in there. But I thought what was also interesting is you heard Lane say that, actually teams have slowed down, which I thought I'd love to. I tried to get a follow-up, and I didn't get the mic again because I wanted to ask him about that as a follow-up because I would love to see statistics on that to see if we are actually seeing offenses slow down intentionally, which, man, one of the things I probably should have asked Jakeem about with him in studio, and we talked about off air, we didn't talk about it on air, but he's like, man, they're so defensively they're so gassed because the tempo on offense that they're going against every day is so fast. That's something Kiffin talked about last week when he said that the tempo is great conditioning for the offense, but it's also preparing the defense because this is the fastest tempo they're going to see all year. So inadvertently, I think he kind of stumbled into that. But really, I thought the theme to Lane Kiffin's availability today was creating habits and consistency, which is I think what you could tell that he's really gunning for right now. Like play number 8, Muse, he was asked. This was the one that really kind of stood out to me because he was asked, if they're on schedule. You're 4 workouts in on spring, so I mean you have so long to go before you get to the start of the season on Labor Day weekend. But he was asked, "Are you on schedule right now?"
I don't know that I really look at it that way. I just really look at each day, like, how are we doing? It's kind of like when people want to be into goals, like how many wins and where are you at this point? I look at it more of like, okay, not goals, habits. How are we creating habits that are going to lead us into getting to numbers that everybody wants? So I don't really set those things. I think that their attitude, their energy, the way that they're approaching it has been really good. But this would be no matter what with me. I wish there was more execution going on, especially offensively in the passing game. But again, you got all these new pieces. It's basically like an expansion team on offense. It's going to take some time. Now, before fans get mad, I didn't say years. It's just going to take some time.
What does that sound like? Not the joke at the end, but what does that sound like? I'm not setting goals. I'm talking about habits and attitude and energy. What does that sound like? Sounds a lot like Nick Saban. Not talking about goals, not talking about the scoreboard, not talking about stats, talking about habits, attitude, energy. Control those things. Those are all things that Saban would scream about. And then I thought if there was one line in the entirety of the press conference that for me, I jotted it down in my notebook. And I wanted to ask a follow-up on that as well, but again, didn't get the mic again. But that last line before he said, you're telling fans I'm not talking about years, but he said, the one thing I would like is more execution, in particular from our offense. And I can understand how if you're a guy that has coached high-level offense for a long time, 4 practices in with a completely new offense. I mean, keep in mind, Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss know this offense. None of these players, except Devin Harper and Winnie Watkins, know this offense. And both of them are running with the ones right now. But your 3 quarterbacks, it's new. The dozen new receivers, it's new. Your running backs, it's new. It's new for all of them. So they're all trying to play at warp speed in an offense they don't know. And I think that is contributing to maybe some of the, I want to call it sloppy play. I'm struggling to find an adjective. As he said, the lack of execution. And so I think as that refines over the next 11 practices in spring, I'll be really interested in that part of it. Now, Lane was also asked about the quarterbacks specifically, like an update on the quarterbacks.
Basically like everything in life, there's a cost and there's a benefit to everything that happens. And so, obviously we would love to have Sam and love to have him taking all the team reps fully healthy, but because he's not, it benefits them. And they've done a really good job with that. And it makes them show up because now they're up there with the ones. But it's been challenging for Sam. He's extremely competitive, so I know it bothers him that he can't do more, and that's a really good thing.
I will say maybe this is just what's rooted in expectation, because when Sam Leavitt took his visit to LSU, his portal visit, his transfer visit, that it was going exceptionally well, and then until it wasn't, when Damon Williams looked like he was going in the portal, and we know how that all played out. But one of the things that I was told is there was real concern on LSU's side about Leavitt's Lisfranc, and they didn't know really the severity until he showed up. And when you hear that, it kind of becomes this thing where you wonder, okay, well, like, what actually is he going to be able to do? And then I'd been told they expected him to throw and do 7-on-7 work in spring, but he wasn't going to do any of the team stuff. And so for me to go out there for 4 practices and to see Sam Leavitt throwing in all of the one-on-ones and you're doing quarterback and receiver timing drills and throwing to the tight ends, and when they're changing stations, he's jogging. He's not a full sprint and not really challenging, but he's jogging on the field. I mean, he's not walking with a limp. I mean, there's nothing noticeable there. So clearly he wants to be smart about coming back from his injury and foot surgery. But maybe considering what my expectation was, it kind of feels like Leavitt is, for me anyway, just my expectation based on the conversations and what was known publicly, it feels like he's trending in a really good direction to get back. So I think that part of it is maybe the good part, or the positive, which is to say Sam Leavitt will have an opportunity throwing with the receivers to develop timing and consistency and rapport and all that stuff, which I think is paramount. And he can still take all the mental reps. He can get on the VR machine and go take all the mental reps to learn this offense right now throughout spring, even if he's not out there running the 11 on 11s. So an interesting day out there at LSU. The Tigers are back practicing again on Thursday, and we do have media availability Thursday. They're supposed to practice again on Saturday. As I understand it, they're supposed to go into Tiger Stadium on Saturday, but we are not as of now. The media does not have any availability as of now on Saturday. If that changes, I will certainly let you know. And as much as Lane gives us availability, we'll go. It was interesting, too. He started his press conference, say, when he walked in. And he said, I know this is new and want to help you guys do your jobs. And if you have any feedback, let me know or let Michael know, and Michael Bonnet. And he was basically asking us, like, do you want to see more practice? And I'm like, we're all kind of looking around going like, did he just ask us if we want to see more practice? Yeah, of course we do. I'd love to say the whole time. So I don't know, that may change. We'll see. But we're all learning too, covering Lane Kiffin's program. So it's his program. It's his prerogative to let us see as little or as much as he wants. So whatever access they give, we're grateful for it, and we'll certainly give you reports as we have the opportunity. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. 9 locations all across Louisiana. 2 in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport. Online at lmfj.com. lmfj.com. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Jen's thinking about popping the question. Or maybe you have an anniversary coming up. Look, a lot of people get married in the spring because the weather's so nice, which means you have anniversaries in the spring. Maybe your anniversary is coming up. Maybe it's a milestone anniversary. Maybe you'd love to give her a beautiful ring, earrings, necklace, pendant, watch, bracelets. So many awesome opportunities to thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. She'll be thrilled. You'll be a hero. And Lee Michaels can make it happen. lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com. All right, it's AFR. Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Jimmy will be here in about 30 minutes for Autolocks. We'll look forward to that, find out what we're betting on tonight. The picks are already posted at louisianasports.net if you want to go get them right now. When we come back, Matt Miller at ESPN has a new mock draft out. Want to go through what he has for the Saints with their first 2 picks. A very familiar name is joining the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. We'll get your preview of LSU Southern from the box here in about 15 minutes as well. Ton to do and glad you're here. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
If you are thinking about putting in that pool, your own outdoor oasis, your backyard paradise, you want Duplessis Builders. DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. That's the website, DuplessisBuilders.net. See, at Duplessis Builders, they don't ever cut corners. Derek says it often. He'd rather walk away from a job than cut corners and deliver a product that's not to their standard. You see, when your standard is build a premium product that will last, and the credibility you put behind that is a 10-year workmanship warranty, you don't have the option of cutting corners. Duplessis Builders is going to build you a beautiful pool like so many pool companies can. The difference is they're going to build you a premium pool that will last with a 10-year workmanship warranty. So check them out online. DuplessisBuilders.net. That's DuplessisBuilders.net.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She likes the way it's pulling while we're tilling up a land. She's even kind of crazy about my farmer's tan. She's the only one who really understands what gets me. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
We are in full-on mock draft season. What are we, about 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away from the NFL draft? We're 3 weeks away from the NFL draft or 4 weeks away from the NFL draft? I know it's that weekend, the 24th. It's April 24th, so today, don't worry, I got it. 1, 2, 3 weeks. We're 3 weeks away from the NFL draft. 3 weeks from Thursday. So you better believe we're going to see lots of mock drafts populating now. Matt Miller over at ESPN has a new 7-round mock draft. He's got Mendoza going 1, no surprise. Arvell Reese 2 to the Jets. Francis Mauigoa 3 to Arizona. Jeremiah Love 4 to the Titans. Caleb Downs 5 to the Giants. We talk about this often, man. Whenever you start to see positions that the Saints are not going to draft go ahead of where the Saints pick, that's a win, because it means the player you might draft drops to you. What's maybe a bit disappointing is the next 2 picks are 2 players that the Saints theoretically would be targeting. It's got Carnell Tate, the receiver from Ohio State, going 6, and then Mansour Delane from LSU going 7 to the Washington Commanders. So there's one very prominent name on the board that hadn't been called up as of that point, and it's David Bailey, the edge from Texas Tech, and that's where Matt Miller has the Saints going with the 8th overall pick. So, listen, I think as we kind of narrow this down, it's pretty easy, I think, when you start to pinpoint what New Orleans is going to be looking for. And yes, value is one of those things. I don't think you're necessarily drafting a position. I think you're looking for who's going to be the highest rated player, on your board when you pick at 8. And the Saints need an edge. They need cornerback. They need receiver. I think those 3 needs are even interchangeable. Like, I could make the argument for any of them. But if David Bailey's on the board at 8 and the Saints have him graded as the second best, I'm just hypothetically, right? The second best player in the draft. Even if you feel like corner is a bigger need, you're taking David Bailey without any hesitation. And if you can pair David Bailey with Chase Young, now you're cooking with oil or cooking with grease or whatever it's called, however the saying goes. Because I don't know if Cam Jordan's back, number one. Even if he is, I'm not sure he's going to be able to replicate the production that he had. And you invested in Carl Granderson, but he wasn't great last year. And you tried to go this route by drafting the edge rusher out of Notre Dame who flamed out in 2 years. So if you can go get an elite level edge rusher, like if you can go get the Micah Parsons, right? The Myles Garrett. I'm not saying Bailey would be that, but if you feel like whoever is the best edge rusher in the draft, and that position is on the board at 8, he's the best one, you take him without hesitation. So, yeah, I would be perfectly fine with Bailey. But that does mean you have other needs then that are still lingering. Most notably what we just said, receiver and cornerback. So, one of the players who took a visit to New Orleans and the Saints worked out last week that we talked about was Zachariah Branch, the wide receiver out of Georgia, and that's where Matt Miller has the Saints going at 42. Taking Branch, who not only would be your big, deep threat receiver who could blow the top off, but remember, the other really interesting thing about Zachariah Branch is you'd also be talking about a guy that could help you in the return game. So, Branch, having lost, or traded, I should say, Rashid Shaheed last year, and while Shaheed is still a free agent, the fact that you lost that big playability and the help in the return game with Shaheed, a guy like Zachariah Branch checks both of those boxes instantly. So we said the 3 biggest needs that the Saints have would be edge rusher, corner, and receiver in whatever order. Well, according to this mock draft, they would have knocked out edge rusher in round 1, receiver in round 2. Naturally, 73rd overall, Traden Stukes, cornerback out of Arizona, ran a 4.33 in the 40, and that's who Matt Miller has the Saints pulling the trigger on there in round 3. So, listen, if the Saints, and I don't know that, look, the draft seldom ever goes the exact way you think it will whenever you're trying to do this. It's the best laid plans, right? And in this mock draft, the 7-round mock, doesn't have trades in it. So there's always going to be some of those things that those are variables that are going to work into the draft that we don't know yet. But if the Saints end up using their top 3 picks and using their top 3 picks on an edge rusher, a receiver, and a cornerback, I think I would come out of day 2 of the draft feeling really good about where the Saints are if that's where they decide to go with their top 3 picks. Just a couple of the other picks here in the 7-round mock. In round 4, they have the Saints taking Jalen Farmer. He's an offensive guard out of Kentucky. I think we're all kind of looking at depth on the interior. They still need a backup center after Luke Fortner left here in free agency, so they certainly need help on the interior of the offensive line. I don't know that it's necessarily guard, but they may do there. In round 5, Tim Keenum, the defensive tackle out of Alabama. They have going to New Orleans. Keenum is a big body guy who can give you a push from the interior. They have Jonah Coleman, the running back from Washington, later in round 5, going to the Saints. And in 6, offensive tackle Emil Wagner out of Virginia. Out of Notre Dame, forgive me. Out of Notre Dame, I can't tell you a thing about him, but Notre Dame typically and traditionally has produced pretty good offensive linemen. We've talked about a good bit over the years. And then in round 7, the pick he's got in 7 for New Orleans is, forgive me, I lost it. Oh, the Saints don't have a 7th round pick, so they traded their 7th round pick. That's right. That's why I lost it. So anyway, we're 3 weeks from Thursday to the start of the NFL draft, and we'll see plenty more mock drafts that come out, but I feel mostly with respect to the Saints in this draft season, like at 8, I don't need a position specifically. I'm okay taking the best player available as long as you get top 10 positional value, meaning you take a guy at that position because you're not going to be able to get that caliber of player at that position outside of the top 10. And it's not a quarterback, an offensive lineman, a safety, unless if Caleb Downs is on the board. Like, I'd be okay taking Caleb Downs, but other than that, I think it's got to be receiver. I don't want a running back, but I think that ship sailed. If you end up going receiver, cornerback, edge, any of those 3, I'd feel really good about that pick with the Saints at 8, with the options that would seem to be on the board for New Orleans there. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Southpointvw.com. Remember, today is the last day of the month. Today is the last day of the month, which means today is your last opportunity to go take advantage of that amazing deal on a brand new 2026 Volkswagen Atlas. 0% for 60 months. That's 5 years. 0% for 60 months and $1,000 customer cash back on a brand new 2026 Atlas. That's only through the end of the month, which is today. That $1,000 customer bonus and 0% for 60 months. Get it now at South Point Volkswagen. Instead of going home, go to South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. Southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? We're gonna grab a break here in a second. We'll come back and we'll take a look at the starting lineup for LSU and Southern tonight out at the box. But we did find out that Gus Malzahn and Jeff Tedford, along with UL Lafayette Athletic Director Brian Maggard, they're joining the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. Malzahn retired from coaching. It was Florida State's offensive coordinator most recently, retired after this season. He'd been the head coach at UCF for 4 years prior to that. Chris Alt, Jeff Long, David Saylor, they all rotate off. They term off of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. Part of me looks at adding Malzahn and Tedford as a good thing. You know, guys that coach at a high level and really successful and credible and respected coaches and voices. I also can't help but think, what if you're a Miami fan and the guy that was just Florida State's offensive coordinator is going to be in that room making decisions about the playoff? What if you're an Alabama fan and the former Auburn coach is in there making decisions about the playoff? Like, that's unsettling. And as much as we may want to think that the second you step in that room, you remove bias, bias is innately human. Like, we are all humans and we all have bias. No matter how hard you try to rid yourself of that bias, we all have bias. And I think this exercise continues to underscore why using a committee to determine this is so stupid. And I long for the day that we can come to an agreed upon power ranking system to seed the field so none of this is rooted in bias. I'm not telling you computer rankings or a metric is always going to get it right. What I'm telling you is a computer ranking or a metric will be void of bias, of human bias. And everybody going into the season will know what the metric is, so there is no moving target. Like, I have stopped watching those stupid Tuesday selection ranking shows because it's pointless. It doesn't matter what they do in the precedent they set for the 5-6 weeks leading up to the final rankings, because they're going to do whatever they want anyway, regardless of what precedent they set with their previous rankings. I think we've all come to understand how stupid this committee is, how flawed a process this is. And I wish Gus Malzahn and Jeff Tedford and Brian Maggard all the best. I hope they do a great job. I just don't trust that they will. And I don't think it's because they're bad people. I just think this is an impossible task that you're asking humans to do. So we'll continue having these arguments until you find a better way, which is an obvious way too. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a break. We'll come back. Look for the starting lineup. LSU and Southern, they're going to play out at Alec Box Stadium tonight. Give you a thought on the Tigers and the Jags. Let's hear from Jay Johnson, who previewed the game on his coach's show on Monday night. We'll do that, and we'll get to Jimmy in about 15 minutes for Outer Locks. It's AFR.
After further review.
We're brought by the Watermark in the Renaissance. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. The Watermark's Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. Actually, I was leaving LSU football practice today, and one of the parents of a player who lives out of state, who came to LSU from out of state, the parents are here to watch spring practice. Their younger child is on spring break, and so they all flew here to spend time with their son who's on the team. We were at practice. Anyway, I was like, what are y'all saying? So Watermark downtown, Watermark Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge's premier hotel property is Watermark Baton Rouge. The original high-rise in downtown Baton Rouge, the old Louisiana National Bank building, it is the premier luxury hotel in Baton Rouge. It's a great place to stay if you have people coming in from out of town for a baseball series, start to plan your football weekends. Easy proximity to LSU's campus from downtown, right there on the corner of 3rd and Convention. You could hop down from Nicholson straight into LSU's campus. You got to check it out if you've never been. It's Watermark Baton Rouge.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She says she's got a dream, and I ask what it is. She wants a little farm and a yard full of kids, and one more teeny-weeny ride before I take her home.
We got a little breaking news from the recruiting world. Hayes Fawcett has put this out there. 5-star edge Zion Forstall out of IMG Academy. Of course, if you're not familiar, New Orleans Jesuit. Who left Jesuit to go to IMG Academy just a bit ago, has now committed to Texas A&M. So a little bit of a bummer, man. Number 2 edge in the class of 2027. He's headed to Aggie land, at least for now. Long way to go until December with the signing period. But that's a Louisiana kid who's at IMG Academy, and looks like now he's headed to A&M. As we say it often, you never want to lose great players from in-state and let them get away. But if they do, which is unavoidable, it's going to happen from time to time, you'd rather them go places that you're never going to have to see them again. We always give the example of the late Joe McKnight going to Southern Cal. As much as that sucked, being at the Bayou Bash that day, and Joe McKnight coming out in that sort of burgundy sweater, knowing what that meant, that he was going to Southern Cal, or garnet, whatever color you want to call it. At least you knew you were never going to have to play him. When you lose guys from Louisiana that go to schools in the SEC, that stings. So Zyron Forrestal from Jesuit, I guess IMG via Jesuit, who's now committed to Texas A&M for the class of 2027. All right, it's after further review. We did have Shay here with us earlier today. If you missed the interview with Shay, you can catch it on demand, AFR On Demand, presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. We talked about a lot with Shay, including updates on Albert Simeon, Ahmad Hudson, who both recently been on LSU's campus during spring, and host of about a dozen different recruits who are all on campus this weekend for LSU's spring practice. So if you missed that conversation with Shay, you can go check it out. All right, we'll talk to let's hear from Jay Johnson previewing the Southern game here in just a quick second. We are brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. We're waiting on the lineup to be posted. Hopefully LSU posted here shortly. But we're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com, williamsoneye.com. You want to see 2020, call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson, his great staff, do awesome work. I cannot recommend highly enough that you give the Williamson Eye Center a call and you go for that consultation. No matter your age or your refractive issue. Maybe you're nearsighted and doctors have told you for years you're not a candidate for LASIK. Okay. What about Evo ICL? That's the ICL, implantable contact lens. Let the Williamson Eye Center and Dr. Blake Williamson tell you about that. Determine if you're a candidate for Evo ICL, which is a reversible procedure as an alternative to LASIK. It's the Williamson Eye Center. You want to ditch the contacts and glasses forever? Live a life where you wake up in the morning and you see 2020? It can be your reality. The Williamson Eye Center did it for me. They can do it for you. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. All right, it is after further review. Jay Johnson on his radio show Monday kind of previewed the Southern game.
They always compete hard. They had a good weekend this weekend. They won 2 out of 3. They beat McNeese last Tuesday night, who beat us. So going to be another challenge. And, for our team, being able to turn the page, not just during a game into the next inning, but between games, that's something I want to see us improve at. And after a, highly charged emotional win yesterday, they need to do that. This is an important game. It may not seem like it on the surface or historical or traditional like baseball at LSU, but for this team this season, this is a very important game.
One more from Jay Johnson. He was asked how the pitching may line up against Southern in this game tonight.
It'll be treated like a conference game from a pitching standpoint with what is best available and what's best available during the game and throughout the game. I like that because it means you're developing a lot of guys. And, our 3 freshman pitchers, Marcos Paz, Reagan Rickens, Zion Theophilus, I'm really happy with how they're throwing the ball right now. So I'm sure they'll be a part of it. I want to get Jaden Newt back on the mound. The 4 lefties, it was good. Danny Lackenmeyer had a couple appearances, and I think he's a guy we can use more. Cooper, Ethan, DJ Primo, I'd like to get back out there. Connor Binge got us an out yesterday. So you may see a very similar template to Sunday.
They used 8 pitchers on Sunday. What Jay Johnson's telling you is, unless if the offense gets going and they run rule this thing, be prepared to be at the box for a long time. You might be at the box for an even longer time. Muse just told me that John Eads has a tweet up that there's a tarp on the field. So out at the box, I don't. Is it even rain? Is it raining outside? We don't.
I can't tell. We can never tell in here.
Can you just go stick your head
sure,
up?
I can do that.
I know you don't know unless you go stick your head out the window. Anyway, so John Eads did put up a tweet. So the tarp is on the field. This is from about 30 minutes ago. I don't know if it's still on the field. Maybe we can get word from someone out there at the box. But so we'll see. That might delay the start of the game. We have not gotten word. And I'll tell you, I mean, as with our sister station, Eagle 98.1 being an affiliate of the LSU, or the flagship of the LSU Sports Radio Network, if there is going to be a delay, they'll obviously let the affiliates know, so we'll be able to pass it along to you if we find it out here in the next 18 minutes or so, which got me.
Can confirm rain. It is raining outside. Now, the sun is out, so I mean...
It's amazing what happens when we actually go look.
It might not last long here, but it is raining.
Okay, so rain, and if you're not familiar, our studios, as the crows fly, 3 miles from the box?
Sure, we'll go with that, yeah. Takes about 10 minutes to get there.
Depending on traffic.
Depending on traffic, yeah.
So I said as the
10,
crows
15.
fly.
3 miles
as the crow flies.
As the crow flies.
As the crow flies.
Yeah.
3
I like that saying.
So you don't have to go down Government to the New Valleys, hook the left, and then weave your way. I mean, just as the crow flies. Just draw a straight line. If you're a crow. I don't know why we go with the crow either. Why not as the hummingbird flies?
Small bird. Crow's much bigger.
As the eagle flies.
That'd be sick.
Even
especially
bigger.
in America.
Even bigger than a crow.
Yeah.
Is an eagle.
I like that. Well, let's change it. Let's change it ourselves. As the eagle flies.
As the vulture flies.
Kind of the same thing as a crow. Kinda.
Not really at all.
That kind of is.
Lot bigger.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing.
No. A crow and a vulture is not the same thing.
I said kinda.
No.
Aren't they both blackbirds?
A vulture, a crow is a blackbird.
Yeah, but isn't a vulture as well?
Vultures are not all black. And they're definitely not the same. Or even kind of the same. That's a weird thing to say.
There's 23 species of vulture, including condors.
Not a crow.
Not a crow. Different bird entirely.
All together. If you're someone who would feast on dead animals and roadkill, this day is for you. This is not a crow.
It's not a crow.
It's a different bird altogether. IYK.
Yeah, there it is. IYK. Yes, indeed. Oh, we have a lineup.
There's a veiled reference to Les Miles's infamous Columbus Day ranty. I can't
I was
call
gonna say,
it,
was
can't
it
call
a
it
rant?
rant, whatever
Yeah.
we call that.
Soliloquy.
Let's go with the lineup so we can save ourselves from the stupid segment. Then we can get on and talk to Otter and let him make his picks, and we can all go about our day. All right, here you go. Lineups posted: Stanfield, Brown, Cerna DHing. So Aaron Beatty is back. Jay talked about that last night. They expected to have Aaron Beatty back. That's great to see. So Stanfield, Brown, Cerna, Curiel, York, Pearson, Milam, Dardar, Aaron Beatty. So what you need to know in that one, of course, is that Aaron Beatty's catching. Dardar is back at second base. Cerna will DH. He'll continue to be in the lineup. They're sticking with York at first, obviously, and no reason to move Pearson off at third. So not getting anybody new work in that lineup tonight except having Aaron Beatty back, which is a great thing. And as you heard Jay say there, he wanted to get Jaden Newt back on the mound, so he'll take care of that from jump, giving Jaden Newt the start. So get the veteran start instead of going with Reagan Ricken, the young guy who we've seen the past couple of weeks out there in the midweek. So Stanfield, Brown, Cerna, Curiel, York, Pearson, Milam, Dardar, Aaron Beatty is how the Tigers line it up tonight against Southern. 6:30 scheduled first pitch. We'll see if there are any delays. If we learn of any delays, we'll pass it on to you. But as of right now, I have not gotten word of that. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us here. Our Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We're not going to break and wrap it up next with Otter Locks. Jimmy will be here. Stick around.
AFR.
Okay, it's time. It's time to call River City's 1 Hour Air. It's time to get your preseason AC tune-up. Tell you about it every year because you should do this every single year without exception. If you can't remember the last time you had your preseason AC tune-up, you are past due because, like I just said, you should do this every single year. You want to extend the life of your AC unit? Do your seasonal maintenance. You want to take potentially small issues and prevent them from becoming very big, very expensive issues, do your AC tune-up. And you mentioned the Moscona special. They'll knock $30 off the price just for mentioning the show. I always, always, always recommend you join their maintenance club. Because when you're a part of their membership club, the seasonal maintenance is complimentary. So they will contact you to set up your heater safety check and your AC tune-up. And it's free whenever you're part of their membership club. At River City's 1 Hour Air.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We got one thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otterlocks.
Otterlocks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
You, Otter.
What's up, buddy? I want to get to it quick because a couple of these picks are already underway.
Okay.
Both of them, no score at the end of one at Camden Yards. No score between Texas and Baltimore. Baltimore up to another slow start this year. They were a disappointment last year. But in Texas, it's also a nice start. Josh Smith with an RBI hit last night in the win for the Rangers. Their ace is going tonight. Jacob deGrom for the Rangers, minus 126. Ace Seminara came with that pick on the show today. No score, I would still suggest taking Texas right now. Not sure what the juice is currently. Washington and Philadelphia, no score in the bottom of the first, but I would still take the over. You're probably getting a better number than what we got pregame. A lot of teams in the fifth game are throwing their ace again today. These two teams are throwing their number fives. Washington has scored 8 runs a game so far this season. They were really smoking again last night. Neither team has a great bullpen, so it's probably over 9 or so right now. Washington and Philadelphia, score.
It is 8.5.
There you go. Even better. Even better. So I might get a little bit more on that one.
Don't be a moron.
Bet more on it. Yes, indeed. Let's go back to the well. We're not limited on this lake. We can catch as many speckled trout as we want. So let's go with the Mets minus 1.5 again at Busch, downtown St. Louis, plus a little money. It was plus 104 when I submitted to Hunt earlier today. Mets minus 1.5. A reminder, a lot of these games are starting at 4:30, 5:30 before we come on and do the segment. So get the alert from the website and on the picks. Roughly 3:15, 3:30 is when Hunt posts them.
The Mets, by the way, are plus $1.14 right now.
Better. Minus 1.5, yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Well, good stuff, man. Where are you tomorrow?
We got some college basketball tomorrow and Thursday to lead into the Final Four this weekend. And tomorrow we're in Gonzales at Airline and Highway 74 in Gonzales at Snow's Seafood and Steak.
Great spot. All right, Otter, good luck tonight. Thanks as always.
All right, good luck.
All right, 3 picks for the Otter. The Rangers on the money line. National Phillies over. He gave it 9.5. It's 8.5 right now. And then the Mets on the run line. It's plus $1.14. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. It doesn't matter if you're looking to buy, well, I mean, if you're in agriculture, you know about First South Farm Credit. They've been first in agriculture for more than 100 years. But if you want to buy that recreational property, maybe that recreational property in Mississippi, that hunting property in Texas, whatever it may be, First South Farm Credit can help you buy land anywhere in the lower 48. And they're local. You're talking to people who live where you live, work where you work, play where you play, talk like you talk. Your neighbors that can help you through the process of buying land. Whether it's your first time, whether you're taking some equity from other property you own, rolling into your new property, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Maybe you want 50 acres, 100 acres to build your family's dream home. First South Farm Credit can help you do it. firstsouthland.com. It's firstsouthland.com. Okay, we do have an update. The LSU Southern game has been postponed, or delayed, I guess I should say. So now first pitch is at 7 p.m. The pregame on Eagle 98.1 will begin at 6:30. Of course, affiliates of the LSU Sports Radio Network. So LSU Southern bumped back half an hour. As we told you, rain in the Baton Rouge area. The tarp was on the field about a half an hour ago, so they moved the start time back until 7 p.m. I'm not trying to play meteorologist here or anything, but I am looking at the radar right now. There's rain in the forecast, about 45% chance, like right at 6, so right about now. But the rest of the evening looks pretty good. I'm looking at this radar where this cell going over Baton Rouge looks like it's moving. It's moving over Baton Rouge, moving more to the north and to the east. So should be a good night weather-wise the rest of the night. Just get past this little cell, and LSU and Southern will be set for first pitch at 7 p.m. out at the box. All right, that's going to do it for us here today. Shout out as always to our friends at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Appreciate their partnership as always. Muse, Taylor, thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all. Have an awesome night. See you back here tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, we remind you about Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home. Hey, look, you can always go to the website. They have the weekly ad at the website. So whether you're buying your groceries and you want to look and see what's on sale, go check it out at the website at Rouse's.com. Also, highly recommend, if you want, you could check out their Facebook page, because every time Rouse's has something new coming in or something they want to promote, you'll see it there on their Facebook page. A boiled crawfish every single day at all 76 Rouse's locations. And I love this coming up on Saturday at 11 a.m. It's the Taste of Easter sampling event at every Rouse's location. It's this Saturday, April the 4th, from 11 to 2. So make plans to be at any of the Rouse's locations this Saturday from 11 to 2. They are also taking live crawfish orders for Easter, so get them in right now. Rouse's, this feels like home.